so many traditions, well, you know, they're a little bit phallic, we'll say. They tend to go up. And there's another path, and that path would be a sacred path. And so what I'm interested in is what happens when you go down? And then what happens when you're down there? And then what happens when you come back up? Most traditions start at, oh, you know, you're sort of like a boring person. You really need to get this impossible thing to get. And you get it through success, you get it through spirituality, whatever it is. You need to get up and you need to get this thing that has you rise above all of these other people who are losers. And then you make it up there, right? And almost all spiritual tradition is based on that trajectory. And I think the market's a little overly saturated in that department. And so we take the backside, we take the B side of it all. So, and that side tends to speak a lot more about intersections and interstices. You know, Nicole and her mycelium network, but it's about the connection points, because that's where the greatest salience, poignancy, diversity occurs. So you think about the fat on the top of the soup, right? So there's the hot soup at the bottom, and the air create the fat. And that's really what I'm interested in. Some traditions would call it the mystical, the mystics, the sacred, something of that nature. But that's where the interesting stuff happens. And so that's what I'm consistently pointing to. So I'm interested in the intersection of, say, the sacred and art, or the sacred. Well, it becomes the sacred at the intersection. So the spiritual, we'll say the spiritual in art equals sacred art. The spiritual in politics, sacred politics. The spiritual and storytelling, you know, really is mythology. Mythology is almost like the Switzerland of storytelling, because it doesn't have a competing theology connected to it. You know, if you get it from the theological source, this is, again, IMO, in my opinion. If you get it from the theological source, I may not wear my uniform, it's a little hot. But I am wearing Christmas green. If you get it from the theological source, encoded in that is this story is here to tell you why we're better than anybody else, because that's what the upward trajectory of stories do. They're competitive. And they want to win. And we'll go into the Jesus story to illustrate two different ways of looking at it. So I don't know that works at this point. So, you know, it's like what ends up happening is you either hear or tell the story through a desire to win, as opposed to a desire to connect. And that to me seems to be the point. Even if you say, my turn the other cheek is better than don't pick up the hot coal of anger, they're all the same basic messages. So if you drain where they come from, in a sense, but still remember where they come from, then they have a great power to them.